What's up everyone, it's KingPix Media here, and today I'm posing a question. Is there a civilian application for CQB? I know it's a hot topic for some. Buckle up, it's gonna get spicy. Before we get started, make sure you guys head over to winschow.com. We've got merch. Support the channel any way you can. It's much appreciated. All right, so now that that's out of the way, last month I posted on Twitter the question and I put a poll, is there a civilian application for CQB? From that poll, I got 1,470 votes. Even though 11,000 people saw the tweet. Next time, just everybody vote, hop in there. 89% said yes, 11% said no. So I went through some of the responses. That's what we're gonna be talking about in today's video. Before we start with that, make sure you guys are following on Twitter and Instagram, KingPix Media, across all platforms. Yo, album dropping soon. Bam, 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 bam. All right. Let's get comfortable. We're gonna take a look at some of these responses. This is my home, this is my living room. Won't you come on in? All right. So getting started, like I said, the question is there a civilian application for CQB? Brad K, 1996. Shout out to Brad, all of my people in Southern Maryland. Love you guys. Brad is my boy. If you're willing to aid folks in danger who are inside buildings, yes. Innocent people are in houses, hospitals, schools, etc. You might be their only hope when seconds count. I agree with that. However, well, let's scroll through some of them, then I'll offer my professional opinion. So Shadesy1, of course, posts a meme and says, dudes be like, CQB sucks and isn't practical. My brother in Christ, you live in a house. You also have friends who live in a house. Similar sentiment to Brad. I agree. I absolutely agree with it. We all live in houses. We all go in and out of structures every single day. So it's probably a good idea to know about geometries of fire, fields of fire, cover and concealment, movement, and things like that. But when I say CQB, I'm more so referring to getting kitted up and, 5-man, building clearing and a direct to threat and a lot of the things that law enforcement and military train for. Is there a civilian application for that? So with that in mind, let's go into some of these other answers. S Lord III says, imagine owning a house and being unable to clear it blindfolded. First of all, S Lord III, I will bird box this entire house right now. Give me a blindfold, handkerchief, bandana. I might stub my toe, but I will bird box this entire house. No questions asked. Hemichas says, yes on learning building tactics / using geometry to your advantage because you live in a home. You probably work in a building, etc. I agree with that because with my home, as you can see, some of it, there are certain fields of fire that I've already highlighted as far as our family's plan for anybody who intrudes or anything like that. Hopefully it never happens, but if it does, all 5 of us have a part to play. NotCaveman says, the answer is more complicated than yes, no. Ooh, okay, I like the intro to that. The answer is more complicated than yes, no, in my opinion. Is the current high-speed CQB a lot of goon bros are learning applicable to civilian life? No. Agreed. But I do think knowing how to slowly and methodically clear a building could have some decent civilian application. For example, your front door is broken and you don't know if anyone's in your house. Now, I like this. Overall, I like this. But if my front door is broken, and say I'm coming home from church, work, or whatever, I'm out with the family and I come home and my front door is broken and it appears that someone has broken into my home, I'm not going to go running into the house. I'm not going to go clearing my own house. I'm going to call law enforcement. So being that where I live, breaking and entering is a felony, the typical law enforcement response is going to be at least 2 deputies, maybe 3. So where I live, if there's 3 deputies that can clear my home, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. And if I'm out and about and I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans, I'm not able to get kitted up unless I'm carrying my kit with me, which, no comment. I'm not able to get kitted up. These guys are more suited to be able to clear my home. Now, if they clear my home and I say, hey, can you stick around while I do a secondary, if I'm not confident in their search and I know that there's some other places that I can look, yeah, I'll do that. But, so it's just a thought. I mean, I agree with what he's saying. The illustration, I would handle that differently than just rushing in. Hey, toss the kids some rifles and say, let's do this. Guns up, let's do this. Leroy. If you don't know Leroy Jenkins, you're too young to subscribe, so just stop watching the video now. Just kidding. Don't unfollow me. The Doomer tapes. We have a right to learn and master every skill the military has, even if we never even use it. I know where you're heading with this one. I know where you're heading. I know where you're heading, and I agree. We should have every capability that the military has. 100% agreed, stamped, approved. Solidifies my spot on the watch list. Been there before, right? All right. TCSinski says, define CQB. I like this because we have to provide a definition. Wrestling, shooting a pistol touching distance to 7 yards out. The basics of fatal funnels, gunfights and thresholds, use of light and cover and concealment. Yes, definitely. Small unit room entry type stuff, much less so. Again, I agree. Is there nobody that responded that I disagree with? Good Lord. Now, what do you mean the basics of fatal funnels? Are we talking about threshold assessment, gunfights in thresholds? I'd rather get in a gunfight from outside the room. We're going to pie that door every time. I'm going to peek inside every time, peek inside every time. Uses of light, that's a huge one. But small unit room entry, unless you actually have a small unit that you're working with, which would mean you'd be operating not necessarily in a civilian capacity, unless, you know, the militia, everything else, I get it. But law enforcement and military have that small unit, and as a civilian, you don't necessarily have that at your disposal. All right, BK Strat says, CQB teaches principles of angles, crossover, prioritization of threats. I like it. Those same principles apply to other contexts of warfare, urban, trench, etc. On you whether it's worth it or not to make entry into a building, but urban warfare is unavoidable. I got some hard chargers in the comments. I like it. I like it a lot. Because if you think about it, to an extent, urban warfare is unavoidable. It ain't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Get ready, stay ready. If you're not fit, you're gonna die. Shout out Garand Thumb. Thank you so much for that line. I say it every day to myself in the mirror while eating donuts. Outpost pubs. I like this. Dave's rules for CQB. Don't. If you're not comfortable with it, if you don't feel like it's something that you need to invest in, don't. All right, and the last one we'll do, the Real Oppo. Yes, because training with your firearm shouldn't be limited. Gosh. Shout out to Maryland Public Schools. Yes, because training with your firearm shouldn't be limited to best case scenario situations, and you can't call close air support on your effing house. That's true, because when it hits the fan, it hits the fan. So my personal opinion on CQB, coming from being a member of a team and operating in a team element and having some of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that I've obtained over the years through my career and through work, there are a lot of things where I look at situations that I would not put myself in a situation or put my family in a situation. So late night intruder, there is very limited CQB that's going to be done with that. It's going to have a game plan in place to where I address the threat and then I ensure the safety of my family. At which point we would rally, and then I would make sure that I am able to protect them, but I'm not going to be clearing my house. I'm not. If I hear a noise downstairs in the basement, call the sheriff's office. I'll hold at the top of the stairs, the basement stairs, and I'll just hold what I got. And if someone gets to a point, if they're down there destroying my house, destroying my property, that's what insurance is for. But if they come up my house the second you become a threat, if they come up my house, good Lord, dude, can't talk. The second they come up those steps and they pose a threat, an actual threat to my safety or my family's safety, that's the point that I would use deadly force. But CQB is a tough topic because you have people that say, oh, you shouldn't be training CQB if you're not law enforcement or military, blah, blah, blah. You're just LARPing, you're just cosplaying. If you like to do it and you can afford to do it, you have every right to go do it. If you want to get with your bros and set up a glass house and go in your yard or go on your land and, you know, take the approach of, oh, I'm doing CQB and I'm doing clearing and I've just read this Tom Clancy novel and I want to reenact this, go for it. That's up to you. It is up to you to pursue your own happiness, but not to the detriment of others. And of course, not to the detriment of yourself. You don't want to train to a point to where now it's like, I will be a vigilante and respond to every residence in my neighborhood. I don't think that's the best case scenario. So that's all I've got for today. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, hop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to debate more. I would actually love to hear from more people that I disagree with. Maybe I'm just a friendly guy and I agree with everybody. But I would like to have an active conversation in the comments. Make sure you guys visit kingpixmedia.com as well as winschow.com. And I mean, I really would love to stay and talk, but I got some stuff I got to do.